I'm Don Shaffer with TVI, Fixed Operations Specialist. We're here at NADA 2026. I'm sitting with Mike Lopez.
Mike Lopez, Business Growth Specialist here at TVI on the UNotify side of our platform.
And Mike, what I'd like to talk about today is AI. AI is the big thing. Everyone's talking about AI. Where does AI actually add value into fixed operations today, do you think?
Yeah, so I think a couple things with AI. One, a lot of people are talking about it being, is it a tool? Does it take away from the dealership? And I think it's a little bit of both. It definitely can't become a crutch. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of dealers are at NADA this year, looking for AI tools or tools that provide some sort of AI. Here at TVI, we have some AI as well. But I really think the most important thing is the customer experience and how it fits into that process. AI making outbound calls, trying to get appointments scheduled, AI answering inbound phone calls, trying to get appointments scheduled. It works. There's quite a few companies here that are offering that or some version of that. But where we really want to make sure we're, I believe, paying attention is the human element and the customer experience, right? And thinking about our own daily lives. If I call into, any company, e-commerce or whatnot, and I have to go through prompts, there's a certain level of frustration. So you really want to make sure that's balanced between, hey, if this is a simple, I need to get an oil change, well then yeah, maybe AI can help do the heavy lifting. But typically a customer might have questions and, prefer to speak with someone. And so you really want to watch that balance and make sure the AI doesn't become the crutch, and more so use it as a tool to just try to create efficiencies. Yes, free up some time, whether it's the business development center, the advisors, but really using it in a way where it's making sure that the service experience with the customer is the forefront.
I would agree with that, because I know from my own personal experience, there's times where a customer, they have a concern, a complaint, they're not getting answered in time. And if someone's calling in, they obviously have a need. And if we're not Johnny on the spot, if we're not getting that call, you've got a certain amount of time. And if not, they're going to look for another way to solve their problem. So from what I'm hearing is that AI could really help streamline it a little bit and get it to the right person that may need to handle that concern.
Absolutely. So, a dealer could have certain parameters where if a text message isn't answered within a minute, right, or 2 minutes, then AI can kick in and continue that conversation. Or if we know it's a customer being targeted maybe for quick lube, something nice and easy, then AI can just take over that heavy lifting. But if we're texting out, let's say for recalls or declined services, maybe where there's a little complexity, we can make sure that we still have the human element in place to take over.
So if I'm listening correctly, it's there to not replace the human, because I know in the dealerships there are certain departments that AI concerns them, that it's going to take their job. Where from what if I'm hearing you correctly, is it's there to help more than it is to replace.
Yeah. So in my world, I work with BDCs across the country, and the idea is how can we create efficiencies for your business development center? If they're trying to develop business, they can't do that if they're taking inbound phone calls and scheduling appointments.
Right.
Can AI assist there? Absolutely. Which frees up the time for the BDC to actually be business development and make outbound calls, right? Be proactive with texting, whether it's automated messages or they're manually sending a message to a customer because there was a maintenance light on in the vehicle, right? A recall or a declined service, maintenance is due, any of the above. It gives them time to proactively be business development agents rather than let me answer phones all day and when I have time, try to call someone or try to text someone.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because we use that term a lot, BDCs, where really a lot of them are just call centers. They're just taking inbound calls, and their time, as you mentioned, is really not used to develop business and bring more of those clients in.
So retention right now with OEMs is, I would say, at an all-time high, right?
Right.
How do we retain our customers, especially at the dealership level? You want to make sure you're hitting factory goals or whatever the measurement is. So, even with retention, right? How are we able to achieve those goals with, AI and some efficiencies created within the BDC? And again, that's where AI can help, right? With answering the phone, maybe some AI conversing with customers depending on the customer type. But really, how do we give the BDC more time to do what they should do best, which is that customer outreach and getting all that money that's left on the table and bringing it back to the store?
So that leads me to my next question. Are there certain processes that would need to really be addressed or put into place really before AI could be really effective in the dealership?
Yeah, so I would definitely say you need a base level of oversight, right? So if it's a dealership that's not really keeping tabs on the BDC, or the BDC doesn't have a software like ours, you notify, right? It's giving them their daily list on who to call, it's tracking it all, sending out automated texts, really just a CRM for fixed ops. So if they're not using something like that, and it's all manual list on paper with highlighter or Google Docs, Excel sheets, there's really no oversight. Like, how are we measuring, how are we inspecting what we expect?
Right, yeah.
And so if that's not foundational, then again, you're using AI as a crutch. It's like, well, I haven't really been paying attention, we're not doing good, so let's have AI take over. So I think for it to really be successful, you got to have a foundational oversight over the process, what's being done, and the measurements. Because let's say AI becomes successful and starts delivering things, well, where do we go from there?
Yeah.
If you didn't have oversight over one thing, I think you would use it as a crutch and know, like, okay, well, AI is doing it for us, let me concentrate on other things. Where at the end of the day, you should really have a grasp of it all and the numbers and the ROI that it's producing. So if a dealership has that foundationally, then I think that sets them up for success with adding in other tools and software to help create efficiencies.
And I think a lot of dealers feel that, by bringing in an AI tool or looking for it, it's kind of the easy button. They just bring in AI, they just set it and forget it. But from what I'm hearing is, you need to inspect it, you need to set those parameters, you need to constantly be looking at it and set up things properly so that it's working at its most efficient and most productive.
Exactly. And it's just like, the example that comes to mind is, are there, and there could be, but do I walk into a dealership, go up to a kiosk, pick the truck I want, they give me the keys, I sign something and leave?
Yeah.
Well, there's typically a salesperson involved. And the reason for that is the human element. Like, obviously I can test drive a car, but maybe your experience as a salesperson driving it or the training you've been to, there's little things just with that human interaction that we're able to uncover. And so I think that translates well to the service side of things, right? You have a rapport with your advisors, the technicians, remember your car, all of the above, right? You're calling in, it's the same BDC agents. So again, just having that human touch, but using the AI as sort of an aid in just creating efficiencies. So at the end of the day, your BDC can do what they do best, which is develop business.
I know myself personally, being not in my 20s and, having trouble sometimes connecting Bluetooth, should people be concerned with introducing AI into their dealerships and thinking, I don't know how to do any of this stuff? Is it pretty user-friendly? Should it be pretty user-friendly?
Yeah, at least, with what I've seen with our products and seen with, other partners out there in the automotive world, I think there is an ease of use to it. But again, as long as those foundational things are set at the store,
yep,
they know what to measure, they know what to expect, and they know what the goal is. If your goal, is your goal bringing in some sort of AI component just to replace people? Is it to create efficiencies? Is it because, hey, I can only have a certain number of agents and they're spending so many time answering phones that I can't, proactively outreach? Well then, yeah, let's look at some options, right, for your store to help create those efficiencies.
Understood. With going into AI, we've been talking a lot about the BDC part of element of it. Do you think that there's other areas in a service department that AI could assist in as
definitely.
well?
I think, a lot of people think of AI on the customer-facing side,
Yeah.
helping with those tasks. But I think AI built into the actual optimization engines of the marketing, right? So now I know here at TVI we have our control center. It really does a great job at looking at ROI, what customers, getting what, tracking it at the customer level. Now integrated with eNotify integrated in, we're looking at all of that, plus the text messages they're getting and the phone calls that they're receiving. So I think AI is also important on the back end to really help a dealership make more informed decisions because everything's in one data warehouse.
You're in that space, and obviously you have a lot of knowledge in it. It kind of seems like AI is a little overhyped. That's like, it's almost like the hot topic or the hot word. Everything's AI, AI, AI. But really, from someone that maybe doesn't know that much, what are some guidelines do you think that before implementing something or before purchasing a product, what kind of guidelines do you think that you should be out there to really look and evaluate different products? Do you have any advice?
Yeah, I think there again, it's looking at how well will that partner fit into the culture of our store.
Yeah.
Is one big thing. And also, are you bringing in another partner because you already have someone that's handling your fixed ops marketing? Then are you going outside of that to find someone that's going to help with AI for phone calls? And then are you looking for someone to help with AI for texting? Right.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing is, your current partner, again, TVI, we offer all of the above. Right.
Right.
And so it's keeping the data in one place as best you can, just to make those better informed decisions right there on the spot, because you have a huge number of clients across your region, and how many times do we go into a store and they might have someone helping them with other segments of the marketing, right? Which, okay, but then how many times are those people talking to you? Or how many times is the dealer saying, hey, Don, here's our reporting from this. How can we use it to help with your main strategies? Hardly ever happens. So I think it's really important as, again, AI being the buzzword now.
Yeah.
8 years ago, it was social or SEO or SEM. There's always something. But at at the end of the day, I feel it's just how do you have that continuity within as little providers as possible. A, not because of the relationship, but B, really the data. I think everything should be data-driven, and if we're able to encapsulate it all in one place, then that benefits
because AI, it seems like it's a never-ending thing. It's constantly evolving and developing, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. There's a lot of partners out there, maybe I won't even say partners, there's a lot of vendors out there that are so happy to install the product in your store, give you a little tutorial, and say, "Go get it, kid." With eNotify, you're right there. You're a partner. How do you do? What are some of the things that you do to really make sure that dealer is using all of the things that it can do?
So, a few things, right? We're obviously monitoring the reporting. We have client success teams that are, in there a lot. Especially after a post-launch, there's really like a hand-holding period. But then I think because we're TVI, right, being in the field, we have quarterly meetings. We have a meeting at the half-year mark. We have an annual meeting. Semi-annuals, annuals, quarterlies. So the account's always being touched. And the beauty that I like, from my past experience on the dealership side, is TVI is great because we're in the store.